back to Reveal to Heal podcast. In this space, we speak truth and discuss the uncomfortable to lead us to our next level of healing. As you all know, and those who don't know, my name is Joy Jefferson, and today I have a very, very special guest who I'm really excited about. You want to introduce yourself?
Hello, praise the Lord. My name is Matthew. Last name too?
Sure.
Well, for right now, my name is Matthew Quarles, because if I become an artist or something, I might change it.
Okay.
I might have a different stage name. But for right now, it is Matthew Quarles. That's my my name I was given at birth.
Yes, by the parentals.
Yes.
So Matt, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Today, the key point is finding your niche and how your major has affected your mental health.
Wow.
Yeah. So just dive right on into it. So I want you to start by, can you tell us a little bit about your major and?
Sure.
Okay.
So I have a double major, or some will say dual major. I don't know. Either way. It's music education, with the concentration in voice, and then vocal performance, which is just strictly vocal performance, as you sing as a performer. Okay.
And so, how would you say being a male in your major has been? How has your experience been being a male? Because I know a lot of times we see females doing the music majors, and so with you being a male, how has that been?
Being a male is definitely interesting. Well, I'll say that word, interesting. It actually wasn't. Okay, I'll talk about from the music education standpoint. From the music education standpoint, it actually wasn't that uncommon or uncomfortable at first, because it was just everyone was doing it. We have a good mixture of both male and female in at least my year. It wasn't until we got to the classrooms where it was weird, because sometimes with the stereotypes of a male dominant classroom with female students, it can get a little shaky, because some people may feel uncomfortable if you are too nice, or if you say something in a certain way, if you do something in a certain way. So you have to be very careful. From a performer standpoint, you definitely have to work hard. You have to put a lot more work in, because it's just one of those things where you have to prove yourself as to why you are where you are, and why you deserve to be where you are, I should say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And to follow up with it, how has it been being an African American male in your major?
Well, I guess I can tell you what school I go to. I attend Westchester University of Pennsylvania. With that being said, it's a PWI, so it's predominantly a white institution. So, in my major, I think there's about 2 people in my whole year in the music education department that is African American.
Wow.
And everybody else is white. There's no other race. If anything, there might be an Asian of some sort of descent. But other than that, so it is very, very, very challenging. It is very uncomfortable, and I always feel like I have to do 5 steps more than the average person would, just to prove myself as to why I should be in the same room, get the same opportunities as them, because for one, I have found myself to be able to fit in a certain way, but outside of that, it's weird. I can be in the room and a lot of people won't notice or won't say anything, especially, this is what I've experienced growing up freshman year. And it wasn't until I opened my mouth and started to sing more that people were like, oh, maybe he can do a little something.
So do you feel like you were underestimated?
Oh, for sure.
And
very for sure.
And when you say there was some uncomfortableness, did that come from your peers, or did that come from professors, or both?
I would say both. And I think it also came from my own mental state, because in my mind, I'm thinking I've always felt like I've been put in rooms where I'm the outcast. And I have to learn how to be in that environment and stay true to myself, but be able to work with others and adapt to the environment that I'm also into.
So I could definitely relate to that. As you know, where I work, I won't say the name because it's not everybody's business. However, I'm the only African American there, and I'm also the youngest person there. Everybody there that works there is married and has kids. Every single person is married and has kids. And so for me, not anything that they're necessarily doing, because I have a great relationship with the people in my workplace. However, I often find myself, and I think I just discovered this recently, I often find myself lacking confidence when I'm in that space. Because I think it's just like nobody has to necessarily do anything.
Yeah.
But you just feel like I'm so different and I'm inferior.
Yeah.
And I hate that. I hate that feeling, honestly. So that's definitely something I'm experiencing, trying to work through, because even when I'm having conversations, like how I can talk to you confidently right now and it can flow. A lot of times I'm second guessing myself. When I'm writing emails, I'm second guessing myself. I'm saying, how does this sound? I have to ask my supervisor to check everything because I don't feel that confidence. Just because I'm the only one. I'm the only one that looks like me. And so that's difficult. And again, being young, you have other people in the workplace that's older and they have more experience than you. So you're just coming into it like another barrier that seems to be affecting my confidence. So I could definitely relate to your experience in that sense. And in terms of the opportunities that you mentioned, do you ever feel like you've been slighted? Like, do you ever feel like, I know I deserved the opportunity and you didn't get it?
Well, I'll say this, because I don't know who's going to be watching this, but I never had an example of a person that had went through this or go through the same experiences that I've been going through in music school until I met my voice teacher that I have now. But even today, when I had opera rehearsal, right, I'm the only African American in the entire opera. Ensemble, cast, director, you name it. I'm the only African American in the entire thing. Wow. So I'm sitting there today and I feel as though I have to work extra hard to prove myself as to why I did get one of the lead roles, right? So because of the talent that I had before coming into here, because God has put people in my life to get me to this level, I was able to get my spot, but you have to work 10 times harder to prove as to why you have that spot. So when it's time for you to go up there and you do your solo with them, they're all looking at you. You can feel the eyes like, what is he about to do?
Versus somebody who, is not of color like you, that may get up there and do half their best and
they'll get all the applause. They'll get all the cheer. They'll be like, yeah, like you killed it, which they definitely did. I'm not saying that they didn't, but if I were to do a half performance, it's like a side eye, like he got to get his stuff together. Like that's exactly how it was today. And I think the reason why I stand out in not only just because of being African American, but because I brought genre of different music into that school. I brought genre of different music in that school because a lot of people, and I was just having a conversation yesterday with one of my other friends. She's white, so we're able to have this conversation. But she understands that the reason I stood out was because for the first time in like ever, I sung a gospel song at the end of our it's like an end of our year, like a ceremony that they do, and you have to be selected. And I was selected to sing a spiritual. How great they are. And
let me plug right there. Make sure you guys go on Apple Music. Is it on other streaming or just?
I think it's on everything.
Okay, make sure you go check on all streaming platforms. How Great Thou Art. Thou, like THOU, art as in like I draw. Matthew Quarles. Quarles is QUARLES. We'll put it on the screen.
Okay, good for me.
You can continue.
Because I brought that there, it really made people like whoa, like we're doing this in classical school. So I think that has what's opened a lot of opportunities for me.
Because I remember you sung that gospel song when you won that award.
Yeah, that competition.
Like, and you won like the best performance of the entire thing.
That's why I sung it. because
Yeah.
my professor who chooses to go, she was there and she was sitting in the audience. And even though, and I don't know if you have this on here, but even though she doesn't have a belief herself, she said that she felt something that she never felt before.
Come on, somebody. You got to be that vessel. Wherever you go, whatever room you step into, like, no matter what other people are doing, what other people,
Yes.
you know, identify as, like, I'm going to show up as me, and whatever's supposed to happen with that,
What happened?
it's going to happen. So, thank you for sharing that. I love that. So, did you always love music, or was it something pushed onto you? Like, was outside influences, families, friends, did they, like, were you, like, forced into this realm and now you love it, or was this something that was also always a passion of yours?
Music was always a passion of mine because I started, well, both my parents are musicians in some sort of aspect. My dad actually majored in music in college. So I grew up in music, like the music in the house, and I was always singing in church choirs. So
and your
my
brother
love for
is...
music. Yes, he's also music as well.
Yeah.
So.
So it's always been a passion on you. You don't feel like it was something that was forced on you?
I don't think like it was anything forced on me. Now, the discipline of practicing and things like that, that was a bit forced because I was a bit lazy, but...
Did you know you were, like, as a child, did you know, like, when I go to college, I'm going to focus on music? Or was it, did you have another major in mind?
That's actually an interesting question because I didn't know that I was going to major in music until I knew I could do that as an occupation where it actually meant something.
That's a good point.
Yeah, because I didn't know music education was really a thing until I got to like high school and I was like, oh wait, I can see myself doing what my choir teacher does and I would love to do that, and that's what made me pursue it.
So, did you always feel supported in your passion by your family or friends? Like, did you always feel like, you know, you had that safety net, or you had that camaraderie, or did you ever experience not being supported? Like, dang, I wish they believed in me or something.
I have always been supported growing up for music. My parents put my brother and I in music school at an early age, and they always supported us. I had family and friends that always came out and supported me. Even if I didn't tell them I had something, they would just show up and find a way to show up and be there.
That's sweet.
So I always have felt supported. There have been times where I haven't felt as supported because people didn't understand how serious I was taking it. So I had to separate myself from a lot of things that a lot of my friends were doing, and they didn't understand that, but they understand now.
The next question is, where do you find yourself struggling mentally? Not just music, but any area of your life.
Honestly, most of it goes back to music. I just feel like I'm not where I need to be. And I feel like a lot of that has to do with decisions that I've made previously that I can't go back and change. So I'm still trying to learn how to...
You're talking about music-wise or regular?
Music-wise, because of the lack of discipline I used to have. And so I beat up myself now because, okay, if I didn't have the other major, I would be technically graduating this spring. But because I have the other major, I'm graduating next spring. But I always think about, if I didn't add the other major and it was time for me to graduate now, would I actually be ready? And the answer is no. I wouldn't be ready.
Everything happens for a reason. But aside from music, because I think sometimes you attach your identity to music. And not saying that that's terrible, but there's a man outside of music. So how are you mentally?
Do you want me to be honest?
Yes, I want you to be 100%.
I don't know how to answer that question.
Why?
Because I've never been asked that question before.
Really?
Like, I haven't asked that question through, like, conversation. Like, you know, like...
Yeah, without being directly asked that.
Like, just recently, like, I was just texting my best friend, Kayla, and she texted me the other day, and she goes, how's your mental health? And I didn't know how to answer that question because I've just never been asked that question a lot, like, at all. And I don't know... I don't want to say I don't know what mental health is. I know what mental health is, but I don't know if it's because I'm just an African-American male and we have like that stereotype of just everything's fine. And even if everything's not fine, you'll make it fine.
Right.
Like just shut up and deal with it type thing.
Yeah.
But I really don't know how to answer that question. I feel like it is just now in this time that has been a question that has been more frequently asked. And I think a lot of it is too because I'm in the education field now. So we are learning about the psychological things that happen within, like, you know, adolescence and also just growing up. But that's a very big question.
Okay, let's answer it. Let's dive into that.
I think.
Where do you find yourself struggling at mentally?
I think mental wise, I feel like I struggle most with not thinking that I'm always doing good enough at what I'm doing and trying to be better at what I'm doing. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't think I have, like how you said, there's a person outside of like music. I don't even know who that Matt is. If I'm being honest.
I know that. That's why I asked.
Because it's just like I'm always doing something music wise or leadership wise. And I always feel like I can be a better leader. I feel like I always be a better musician. And that's where my mental is always at, is trying to be better at those things.
That's not safe.
I'm understanding that now.
I think you're going to realize when you get to the point of life where you have a minute to slow down, it may all hit you because you've been on autopilot and just going and going and going and going and music and leadership and this and friends and family and serving. That where is Matt's care?
I feel like I'm very hypocritical when it comes to that too.
Yeah, because you support and tell everybody else, take care of yourself, do this, do that, and here you are. You know, I don't even think you really tapped into your emotions.
Because it's like, what do you do? If you're not used to doing that, it's weird.
With that question being asked, the follow-up question is, with such a busy schedule, do you ever find time to check in with yourself?
No. It's not funny. It is kind of funny, but it's not funny.
Oh yeah, it's important. Like you don't realize like I'm sure there's thousands of other people out there like tapping in like, hey, he's saying everything I've been thinking, everything I've been feeling. So we gotta handle that.
Okay, well, I don't want people to think that this is the healthy way of doing things. But if you're used to something, and I feel like I'm a creature of routine.
Yes, you are.
So if you're used to doing something, and all of a sudden someone asks you to do something, or you have to change the way you think about something, just give it a try.
Well, the first step to change is acknowledgement. So now that we've acknowledged the problem, we can begin to address the problem.
But see, is it a problem?
I think it is.
Why do you think it's a problem?
I think not being tapped in with your emotions, and it's something I struggle with. You are removed from a lot of situations. You may be physically present in it, but you don't even know how it's affecting you, and it starts to show up in other areas of your life.
So, okay, now I feel like I'm being interviewer, but so for example, I just want to think. So if you experience something in the moment, you go back afterwards and think about it, like you ponder on it for a very long time.
I'm one of those people. I'm kind of a reflector. Yeah, I'm a reflector. Thinking. So when it's happening, it's not fazing me. Yeah. Or sometimes I don't realize something affects me until like it actually like something bad happens or something, which is not good for me. But everything happens internal. Like people say to me all the time, like I didn't even know that situation bothered you, or I didn't even, because it's an internal process. You know, so we're gonna chat more about that off camera. And how has your mental health transitioned from beginning of college to now?
Now that is a very good question. That's a good question.
Thank you.
Good for you. I'm sorry that I'm not answering it well right now. So give me a second to think about it. Let's see. Okay, let's take a trip down memory lane. If you all want to come with me. So let's see, freshman year, mind you, I'm out of state, so adjusting to the environment around me, I think I did a pretty good job, honestly. I don't think it was, I'm very independent, so because of that, I think I was perfectly fine. Did I lose weight from not eating? Yes, but because I wasn't finding a routine yet. But now that I found the routine, I think I've gained too much weight.
You have not, but okay.
But it's okay, because look, God provided food, so it's made to be eaten. Other than that, I think my mental health has become a lot more. I think I've expanded my idea of my mental health. I suppressed a lot of things from freshman year till now, but I'm now taking those things apart, and I feel like my mental health has gotten better.
Okay.
I really do think so because, well, one, I'm always doing something, so I don't have to spend too much time thinking. But when I am thinking, it's like, you know what? This situation that I went through has allowed me to be able to do X, Y, and Z now. That is actually how I think. Seriously.
Okay. It's all worth it.
It was all worth it.
It's all part of the story.
It's all part of the story. I really, really, really do believe that everything happens for a reason. I do.
Okay, so I wanna shift gears just a little bit.
Shift.
And I wanna talk about how I think this is just a very important topic, and I've kind of brought it up in one way or another in my other episodes. But how has the relationships you've built in college negatively or positively impacted your mental health?
That's another good question. Oh, wow. Speechless. It definitely has its pros and cons. I've had some friends that I have made in college that I have lost along the way, but at first, it may have seemed like, ooh, that's going to have a really bad, effect on his mental health. But like now, I realized I had to go through those things because it has helped me in many different ways now. I can't even unfold that. That's a whole 3 episodes, and I don't think that's gonna happen. But that's one thing. Now, I have had friends that have had impacted my mental health in a very great way because they have allowed me to realize what I mean to them. Because I don't think I've ever realized the impact that I have been in other people's lives until they come back and tell me. And a lot of my friends in school now always tell me, and it helps me remind myself, like, I do have a value and a purpose, which is obviously good for my mental. It makes me realize I'm doing some things right. So I think
I think you remind me of like Angie. Like, it's good to hear those words. Like,
yeah.
Of course, your place in people's life and stuff like that. I mean, sometimes you actually don't, but it's good to be assured and affirmed and things like that. How has our friendship impacted you and your mental health?
I feel
You can be honest, negative or positive.
No, it's not negative at all. I would say the only negative thing would be, I don't even consider that a negative, honestly. I just feel like that was just a learning, just like a learning moment of like I said, I have been presented some things in college that I haven't been presented when I was growing up. So I had to learn how to go through those situations. Mm-hmm. Some that I will not share on this on this camera. But it has allowed, I would say you have allowed me to really think about my actions and how I say and do things, and how it can affect that person, even though you may not think it has an effect on them. And not necessarily just in our friendship, but seeing how you are with other friends and seeing how like actions, and you're really a person that sees action and dwells on that more than you dwell on the words. I think you do dwell on words, but you like the confirmation through action, and just like the being in the physical state of things. So I think I had to learn that because I would say things and I don't think that you wouldn't believe it, but until you actually saw it, I think that's when it confirmed.
I think that speaks to my own trauma and healing, because I struggle with people's words. Like, people's words almost mean nothing to me.
Right.
Like, I struggle with trust issues, and so people could tell me and affirm and let me know and double confirm,
right.
And still in the back of my head and in the middle of my heart, I'm like, I don't believe them. Like, they're lying.
But see, I wouldn't consider that a negative mental, like, I think it could be like, it can make you feel bad about yourself.
Yeah.
Like what am I doing that's not, good enough?
Yeah.
But then, like I said, it was all a learning process.
But I think that I struggle with it's weird because I lack trust in people, and sometimes like it could be a new person or somebody that hasn't done anything to me. I think just overall I lack trust for humans. But also I struggle with the insecurity of my place in people's lives. Mm-hmm. And I think that's because I'm a person that when I give and when I love, it's with everything in me.
Right.
And it's genuine, and God is my witness, is from the heart.
Yeah.
And so I think sometimes I get scared that maybe how I view it, because I really hold people to high heights, and like I put them on a pedestal, and so sometimes I be worried like, what if they don't think of me the same, or how I view them, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't have a lot of friends. Like, I think people think because I know a lot of people, I have a lot of friends.
Yes.
And I really don't. Like, I literally can count on one hand how many friends I have.
I would agree.
And because of that, if I call you my friend, like this is my friend, like I also consider you my family. Like how I would give to a sibling, like is how I'm to do to you as well. So I think sometimes in the very beginning of our relationship, I had to learn, because, man, just being honest, you're a popular person. Like, and I think people would assume you have a lot of friends, but you're just known and popular because you also a versatile person in types of the groups, like circles you're in.
Yeah.
Like, you got your music friends, you got acapella, you got gospel, like all that stuff. You got your friends, New York, best friend, all that. So you go in between different circles. So you're a very like known person and stuff. And so I think initially that was hard. Yeah. Because also I'm the type of person, I typically connect with males more than females. Right. I don't know why that is, but it is. So like my male friendship, I'm like, these are my guys. Right. And so it was hard to process that in the beginning of our friendship, and it was hard to be like, it's okay that he has other friends. That doesn't mean he's not your friend. Right, or right. You know, and I think also for both of us, we've experienced being friends with someone or people that the other person is no longer connected to. Right. And that can be difficult. Right. That can be difficult. And people often ask me how I feel about that. It's like, especially in regards to you. Wow. Like, people always like, do you feel the type of way that Matt is still friends with X, Y, and Z? Like, yeah. And I'm gonna be honest, when at first I'm like, I think just when things first happen, everything just raw, and I'm like, I never said yes, but I'm just like, I mean, it is what it is, like kind of like with an attitude. Mm-hmm. But now I'm like, no, because I can't expect that from you. Because I think it'd be different if I introduced that person to you and y'all only had a relationship through me. You, right. But that's not the case. And so, I mean, no, I wouldn't say I introduced y'all, but that's not the case. Because and we got closer through me, right? Yeah. But y'all had at the point that everything kind of fell through, y'all already had built your own relationship, right? And so, I think it's also a trusting in terms of people tell me all the time, like, you don't, or ask me all the time, like, you don't think Matt is talking about you with X, Y, and Z, and I literally say to people all the time, God is my witness. I said, there's not a single person on this planet that I have ever heard Matt talk badly about. And I think you're the only person I can say that about. Like, that's crazy. You don't speak negatively about a single soul. Do you know why that is? Why? Because I really, 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 well, first of all, we're not gonna dive into this, but you know this. Growing up, I was bullied bad in a lot of areas. Okay, and I think I just internally told myself that I would never treat people the way that I was treated. Wow. And I stuck by that. Wow. Even to this day, I was talking to my friend yesterday, and there were some people who were talking about other people in our classroom, you know, our music, and it really, 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 really frustrates me, because it's like, why do you think that you're so much better than that person that you have to just say something about them, and you have no idea what they're going through right now? That's true. I aspire to be more like that, man. Because honestly, when I get mad, I be talking my trash. But one thing I can say I love about myself, and I was actually talking to my therapist about this. Something inside of me, I know it's Jesus, but just the way I'm orchestrated, people can do such negative things to me, and I can never do to them with like I can never do them how they done me.
That's so true.
Like you've witnessed, like I family
No,
at
you
all.
should
Like
have.
people be like, Joy, why aren't you getting your payback? Why aren't you? And it's like I don't even have the desire to. Like nothing inside of me says like, oh, go do this person dirty. Like I'm like I don't want to. Somebody could hurt me so bad, and I'm like I don't want to hurt them. Like
Right.
that's not like that wouldn't make me sleep at night. I would have that on my conscience. But yeah, getting back on topic, I think that that was hard, and I think what made me be able to understand you being friends with people that I may not run the same circle with now. I think it took some reflection, and I realized I'm doing the same thing.
Oh, you are.
And I don't know why, but it took me a while to realize that.
I just realized that now.
And and I said, I never asked Matt how does he feel. I never, I never took that into consideration. So how can I hold his feet to the fire for the same thing that I'm doing? But one thing I can say.
Wow, that's crazy. When did you think about that?
I've been thinking about it for months. One thing I can say, I think that our friendship, and I know you're supposed to be answering the question, you can. I think our friendship has taught me friendship. Like I think that I'm not gonna sit up here and cry, but I think that until we became friends, like I didn't understand necessarily how to be the truest of true friends. Like I knew how to be a friend because I have a best friend, Marco, that I grew up with. But it wasn't even until we started being friends where I really learned through our relationship and some of the things we experienced together. Because, like, our time together in college, the amount of people we encountered, the type of people we encountered, the type of situation.
They would think we were lying.
Y'all
would think we were lying.
Like, they would think the stories we have is false accusations.
And a lot of people don't even know half the stories.
Half of it. And so, so I just think that it has taught me that patience. It has helped me be self-aware. Because
elaborate on that.
I think it has helped me be self-aware because of how you are. Kind of like what you said earlier. I don't think you realize how much you impact other people.
Okay.
And I think that I literally look at you as a lot of the attributes you have, I aspire to be that. And it's so weird because I'm older than you, not crazy older than you, but I'm older than you, and I don't even feel like that. I don't even feel like that. I feel like you're older than me because you have so much wisdom, but you make me rethink situations and you know what, maybe I was wrong, or maybe I overthought that, or maybe I didn't consider your side. I think that probably was we haven't had a lot of issues or disagreements, but in the very few we had, I think it was literally me just thinking about how I felt or how I may view the situation or my perspective of it, and never really looking at Matt really wasn't trying to be malicious. He just looked at it from X, Y,
Okay,
Z.
it could also be me too, because I'm a very nonchalant person. So sometimes that comes off as I don't care. So that could be it too. I don't want people thinking she's a dramatic one and it's always her fault and never mind. No. Don't think that.
No, but I definitely have yeah. But you can answer.
Well, I think it's crazy because the way you view me, which is absolutely insane, is the way that a lot of people view you and how you are in their lives. So I think sometimes we all need that one friend that we can look up to or lean on versus always having to pour out. Because I feel like you pour out a lot and you don't get poured in enough. And I feel like that's how you were drained a lot. From me first meeting her up until now, the phone calls, the prayers, the everything, you pour out a lot. The pull-ups, physically pulling up, stopping, dropping everything to get there.
I'm a paramedic.
No, seriously, as it's blowing outside right now. But it's just crazy because you pour out a lot of knowledge, support, genuine care, love for not only family but friends. But like you were saying, you treat friends as family. So it's actually, and you know that's true because I don't think I have been to a friend's family functions as much as the ones that you invite me to. I would just pull up and I would just sit there as if I'm family. And like all her family would treat me like I was family. So it wasn't weird or anything. So it was like, but you can just tell that the impact that you have on other people's lives too. So I'm glad that I can be that for you, because you need an outlet, because y'all don't want to carry what she's carrying. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I'm going to end it there. We could go on and on, but I think you shared a lot with us, and I look forward to having you back one day. But thank you for joining us. Again, make sure you guys go stream How Great Thou Art by Matthew Quarles. And, this was an amazing episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Reveal to Health Podcast. And until next time.